Brett Arsta builds a mortgage career on hard lessons and harder work. Brett Arsta talks about his career like a string of lessons, most of them learned the hard way, starting on a farm in a small town where ambition was not exactly handed out for free. Watching my dad get bullied by a narcissistic business owner just to support our family, Arsta says, naming the moment that shaped how he leads today. That single image, a father humiliated for the sake of a paycheck, did something to him. It didn't make him bitter. It made him stubborn in a useful way. I was always entrepreneurial as I grew up on a farm in a farm town, Arsta says. My best friend encouraged me to take a risk of starting a new business, and with his encouragement and my passion I was able to form a new company and make a living in a profession dominated by bankers. That company was AMS Mortgage, a small operation Arsta started in Ridgeland, Mississippi, working as a broker and helping ordinary families chase the dream of home ownership. No financial backing. No safety net. Just a friend's nudge and a willingness to bet on himself in an industry built by and for bankers. The regulatory fluency that sets him apart. Decades later, Brett Arsta is a senior executive at PowerTPO, the wholesale lending arm of Lower LLC, where he works on expanding the company's broker channel and wholesale mortgage platform. Wholesale lending works differently than the retail mortgage world most people know. Instead of a loan officer at a bank, an independent broker shops the loan on a borrower's behalf, and a wholesale lender like PowerTPO underwrites and funds it behind the scenes. Industry insiders call that broker channel third-party origination, or TPO, and it's the side of the business Arsta has spent his career on, going all the way back to that small office in Ridgeland. His resume since then reads like a tour through the back-office side of the mortgage world: wholesale lending, regulatory compliance, strategic business development, the pieces that rarely make headlines but decide whether a lender survives a downturn or gets buried by one. It's a long way from a small broker shop in Mississippi, and Arsta has made the trip mostly by mastering the parts of the business other people try to avoid. Before PowerTPO, Arsta ran Guarantee Home Mortgage Corporation as president and CEO, steering the company through a stretch of real growth and operational change, not just numbers on a slide. Along the way he picked up a level of fluency few people in the business actually have. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac seller-servicer relationships, RESPA-regulated affiliated business arrangements, NMLS and SAFE Act licensing, secondary market mechanics. The unglamorous stuff that keeps a mortgage company out of trouble and is widely regarded as a hallmark of his work, both in originating loans and in the secondary markets where those loans eventually land. Now based in Franklin, Tennessee, just outside Nashville, Arsta still carries that competitive streak from the farm. These days it shows up on a golf course more than a boardroom table. Same intensity, different scoreboard, and people who know him say the results-oriented edge never really clocks out. Brett Arsta learns to build before learning to lead. Starting a business once is hard. Brett Arsta has done it 4 times. Starting and growing a business 4 times in my career, he says, when asked what achievement he's most proud of. No embellishment. Just the number, stated plainly, like a man who knows exactly what it cost him to get there. Each time, the formula stayed roughly the same: spot an opportunity, build something scalable, and lay a compliance foundation strong enough that growth doesn't outrun the rules. It's a balancing act a lot of executives talk about and far fewer actually pull off 4 separate times. Build too fast without the guardrails and a lender ends up in front of a regulator. Build too cautiously and a competitor eats the market share. Arsta's track record suggests he found a workable middle more than once. He's also blunt about what he'd tell the guy who started AMS Mortgage all those years ago, if he could go back. Always document meetings and directives in business, Arsta says. Be careful of who you let in your circle. It's not poetic advice. It's the kind that comes from getting burned. Somewhere between Ridgeland and Franklin, Arsta learned that paperwork protects you and people don't always deserve the trust you give them. Faith, boundaries, and what Brett Arsta actually measures success by. Ask Arsta how he defines his values, and he doesn't reach for a corporate mission statement. Christian values, not denominational but rather spiritual values and beliefs, he says. Being kind and passing blessings forward. He's not big on burnout, either. Understand that burnout is real, Arsta says. Never sell your soul and lower your standards for anyone. Take time to smell the roses along your way and don't forget those who helped you along the way. That line about smelling the roses sounds soft until it's set next to the rest of his answers. This is a man who built 4 companies and ran agency-regulated mortgage shops for decades. Pace like that usually breaks people. He talks about it like something he had to actively guard against, not something that just worked itself out. When asked who he looks up to in business, he didn't name a mortgage executive or a Wall Street name. He named Warren Buffett, specifically for how Buffett chooses who gets his time and money. He has a great set of basic rules that he used when choosing who to invest time or money into, Arsta says. He chose to remove himself from toxic people. It's a theme that keeps surfacing. Watch who's in your circle. Cut the toxic ones loose. He's said some version of that more than once, and it doesn't sound rehearsed. It sounds like something he actually believes, because he keeps coming back to it unprompted, in a different context every time. As for how he measures whether a day was worth it, his answer skips the spreadsheets entirely. When you end each day feeling like you made someone smile and helped humanity, he says. Not a closing ratio. Not a production number. A smile. For a guy whose day job runs on agency guidelines and licensing requirements, that's a strikingly low-tech finish line. Brett Arsta brings a farm kid's discipline to the golf course. The same competitive instinct that built 4 companies follows Arsta onto the golf course, where friends describe him as an avid player who treats the game with the same seriousness he brings to a closing table. It tracks. People who spend their careers inside compliance frameworks and underwriting guidelines tend to like games with clear rules and a scorecard that doesn't lie. Golf rewards exactly the traits his life leans on: discipline, patience, and a refusal to let a bad hole turn into a bad round. It's also a fitting hobby for someone who has spent decades translating complicated, rule-heavy systems into something a broker or a borrower can actually use. Golf, like mortgage compliance, punishes anyone who skips the fundamentals. There's no shortcut on either course, and Arsta doesn't seem to be looking for one. Coaching kids and helping strangers rebuild. For more than 20 years, Arsta coached youth sports teams, his own kids' teams and school programs alike. He's not shy about why he kept doing it for 2 decades. Watching and helping coach kids to become better and build self-confidence in youths, he says. That instinct to help didn't stay on the sidelines of a kid's soccer game. When a major flood hit Nashville, Arsta sent a crew to help families demo water-damaged homes, work that saved them money and helped clear the way for FEMA relief. One family hit particularly hard happened to be classmates of his own kids. Arsta didn't just write a check. He fostered them. For over a year, I fostered the family of one of my kids' classmates who lost their home during a flood, providing them with housing and a vehicle, he says. I've participated in multiple charities in my adult work and personal life. A year of housing. A vehicle. Not a one-time gesture, a sustained commitment to people he didn't have to help at all. It's the kind of detail that doesn't show up on a corporate bio, the wholesale lending titles and the agency approval expertise and the rest of it. But it's the part that seems to matter most to him. Brett Arsta built a career on risk, compliance and hard-won trust. He also rebuilt a few lives along the way, and judging by how he talks about it, That's the resume entry he'd lead with if anyone asked the right question.